This is your Weather Xtreme video for Sunday, November the 15th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Thanks for tuning in. And before I forget it, I want to shout out a big thank you to the folks down in Sawyerville for the invitation to their fall festival yesterday. And before it was over, they presented me with this wonderful cookie and just enjoyed the heck out of that. Didn't eat the whole thing now. Shared it with the television staff at ABC 3340. The upper air pattern shows a ridge over the eastern half of the country and a trough coming in on the west coast, and that trough will be bringing us a weather system around Wednesday. Temperatures this morning basically were a bit chilly once again, with temperatures dipping down close to the freezing mark across much of central Alabama. A little bit less frost this morning than we saw yesterday morning, and today should be a glorious day with plenty of sunshine. But the sun filtered through some high cirrus clouds from time to time. The blues, the dark blues and light blues over the southeastern U.S. are all freeze and frost advisories, and those should be expiring later this morning. And it looks like we're not going to see any freezing weather, at least for several days or much of the week ahead. But we are going to see some rain. The quantitative precipitation forecast, or QPF, shows on the order of maybe as much as 3 inches. I'm thinking we're going to see, probably with a fairly steadily moving front, we should see on the order of at least 2 inches. Storm Prediction Center is not outlooking any severe weather for today, day one. And for Monday, they're having a slight risk with an enhanced risk over parts of Texas and Oklahoma. That's surrounded by an area of marginal risk. And then on day three, they have the slight risk primarily in eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, and Louisiana, and a little bit of southwestern Mississippi. It doesn't look like we're going to see severe weather, though we may see some thunderstorms, but we'll get to that when we talking the maps here. And the tropical situation for the Atlantic Basin is things are quiet. We don't have any disturbed areas that we're watching as we're winding down the hurricane season for 2015. And in the eastern Pacific, there's one area that is located well away from Mexico out in the Pacific that is being watched for possible development. All right, let's get to the GFS 06Z GFS model run. And there's a surface high that is moving over the area that is bringing us this great weather, and that will continue to slide east and northeast a little bit on Monday as we watch the development of another surface low out over eastern Colorado. That surface low is being developed by this very strong trough that is coming through the Rockies on Monday, and that trough is expected to close off on Tuesday. And as it does, we'll see that surface low move out of the eastern Rockies into the central plain states, approaching Iowa there as it's located in southeastern Nebraska. We will see a trailing cold front coming down into East Texas, and it is along that front that the risk for severe weather is the strongest. By Wednesday, the trough and the closed low are pulling out to the northeast, so the primary dynamics are a little bit further to our north, but along with the surface low as it moves into south central Canada. But you can see that the trailing cold front will be entering Alabama probably very late Tuesday night or very early on Wednesday morning, and will be traversing the state during the day on Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be one of those days with clouds and rain, perhaps even some thunderstorms. And interesting to note, comparing with the European model, and the timing and location are pretty close on the front down here in the southeastern U.S. I noticed that the surface low position is a little bit further south on the European, but not much. And speaking of the possibility of severe weather, Cape values are probably sufficient on the order of probably a little below 400 joules per kilogram, but it doesn't look like we'll have significant threat for severe weather. The trough continues to eject off to the northeast as it develops a fairly a broad trough over the eastern half of the country, and that should take the cold front away from us. But notice that the high is coming in from the central plain states, so we're not seeing some extremely cold air coming with this system. The broad trough continues on Friday, so we're not getting any really strong northwesterly flow bringing cold air in. And then on Saturday, we've gone to an upper flow that is nearly zonal, and that should give us probably a good weekend. The zonal flow continues with us on Sunday, so once again, we should have pretty good conditions. Now, I do note that on Sunday and late Saturday, possibly, we do see that the surface high is moving across well to our northeast, and that is often one of the things you look for in setting up the cold air damming or the wedge, so we'll have to watch for that. Looking out into voodoo country, speaking of holidays, we've got Thanksgiving coming up, and it looks like Thanksgiving should be good over the southeastern U.S. With a large upper high over the Gulf of Mexico and that bulging northward into the Ohio River Valley. But by the time we get to the end of November, before we can say goodbye to November, it looks like the GFS is planning a pretty bang-up send-off with a very deep trough. Notice how that flow is coming from way up in northern Canada all the way down into the central U.S. Plus, this has the look of a possible severe weather kind of situation. But it is voodoo country way out there, 372 hours, so we'll have to wait and see. Well, again, thanks to the folks in Sawyerville for having me out yesterday. Enjoyed it. James Spann should be back in the saddle with the next edition of the Weather Xtreme video first thing on Monday morning. In the meantime, stay tuned to the blog for notes on Alabama's ever-changing weather pattern. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Have a great day. Godspeed.